Hello, and welcome to my global warming episode. Now, just before we start, I did really quickly want to say, this was made about half a year ago. Some of the facts are not going to be 100% accurate as they were then. They were also found off the internet, which, as I'm sure you can know, is not always 100% accurate. However, most of these facts do still apply today, and the message is more important now than it was and will ever be. Leaders, friends and equals, we must address this problem at hand. Global warming. Global warming is the temperature of the planet rising over a period of time because of humans. However, to fully understand the phrase global warming, we need to know what climate change is. Climate change is the temperature of the planet rising because of nature and not humans. We're all responsible for global warming. How are humans doing this? Through a multitude of different issues, including waste, travel, and food. This is a massive problem. If we carry on the way we are, the future of our children will be sacrificed. Travel is a main problem in our modern day world, but what can we do about it? Travel is a necessity in our modern day world. We need to travel. We want to go on holiday. We want to drive our cars to the shop. But in doing this, we are creating so much CO2. It is thought that the ozone could crumble in 48 years because of it. We're robbing the future of the next generation. This is an outrage. How can we do this to our planet? I believe that we should be able to use public transport more, and that we should choose to. But the government don't give enough climate neutral methods of transport. This does restrict our options. Everyone is different. If public transport is not for you, then try walking, cycling, or even lift sharing. So how bad is flying? There's belief that the biggest contributor to global warming is flying. But there is something we can do. If we make minor changes, we can make the world a better place. We can save the future generation. To fly to Singapore Changi Airport from London Gatwick, it would only cost £4 to offset your carbon emissions. For you Americans, that's about $5.50. There are other three ways. By using the web browser called Ecosia, which is just an add-on to Chrome, it uses the money it receives to plant a tree every time you search for something. Where do your Amazon orders come from? China, America, Spain, Germany? Have you ever thought about how they get to you? It's not magic. It's by plane, lorry, van or boat. Take for example, if you order a jumper made in the United States. This may then be shipped to Germany for embroiderment, then shipped back to the United States, before finally going to the UK, or wherever you are. Overall, this will create this equivalent amount of emissions as flying around the world 1.23 times. What about returns? How do they really work? CBS did an investigation on Amazon's free returns. They found that in Canada about 80% of returns were either binned or destroyed, and found that 15% were resold. The remaining 5% were, as expected, given away to charities, but really lost without a trace. However, if we bought locally, not only would we be helping our local economy, we'd also significantly reduce our carbon footprint. This could save up to 72 species, maybe even more, and reduce species extinction by 74% per year. Meat eaters. The average amount of meat a 7-year-old eats a year creates the equivalent amount of CO2 emissions as a flight from London to Florida. This is about a 4,400 mile plane journey. The difference between eating meat and being a vegan is about 50 kilograms of carbon emissions per year. Our world can only handle 2,240 kilograms of emission per person per year. As humans, if we can't handle something, we stop or drop out or ask for help. Look around you. The world is screaming out for help. So we must stop or drop out on its behalf. I mean, look at the wildfires, the global pandemic, the storms. It's easy and simple to make the change in today's world. There are so many options that you can find an alternative for every meat product. You can change your ways with minimal effort. But how can eating meat cause our planet such hardship and pain? The fumes a cow emits per day are on average equivalent to the number of fumes a car emits per year. This is polluting our world on its own. But on top of this, the place where most cows are mass bred is, you guessed it, the rainforest. We are burning when the rainforests are being burnt down at a rate of 40 football fields every minute. It's not only to breed cattle, but to grow the crops to feed them. If we all stopped eating meat, the sea level would decrease by about 25 centimetres per year. About 25 centimetres. The planet would be similar to the climate it was 100 years ago. Fish eaters. It is believed that by 2030 each fish could contain between 1 and 3% plastic consumed by our polluted oceans. More than 50... Wow, why do I keep saying 50? More than 5,000 people died in 2016 from plastic poisoning. If we all stopped eating meat, there would be 32% less extinction a year. We could save as many as 43 species of animals a year. If we all stopped eating meat, one day a week, say a meat-free Monday, then we'll reduce extinction by 7%. It's hardly a sacrifice for you and me, but it's a significant impact for our animal species we are saving. If you want to know more about this, there's Cowspiracy, which you can find on Netflix. You might be able to find it in other countries, you definitely can in the UK. If not, Google works as well. Trees are the most important living organism on the planet. We breathe the air they are creating. A quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt: "Forests are the lungs of our planet." Puffing the air and giving new strength to our people. When a tree is chopped down, it releases CO2 that it's been building up. In addition to this, the tree can now no longer clear our air. Worse than this, when a tree is burnt down, it releases CO2, as well as the CO2 the tree has been storing throughout its lifetime. Besides, it also stops cleaning our world. Do we want this? Is the impact worth it? If we stop cutting down trees, then smog clouds over most major cities will be gone. Humanity would be able to see views it's never seen in years, and bring a new clean style to our cities. Many people and influencers say that global warming is not a problem, that it doesn't matter, or it's not caused by humans. Well, they're wrong. It's not just me saying it. Now, look at the evidence. In 2016, we had the worst year yet, the most amount of CO2 ever released. It was closely followed by 2017 and 2018. 1945 was found to be a fake fact. Then in 2020, we saw significant improvements to our world. For example, dolphins were seen swimming in the canals of Venice. The ozone was almost fully repaired. It cannot be a coincidence that this was the year the world shut down to a global pandemic. Travel ground to a halt. Nobody commuted to work. Look back at 2016, the worst record ever. Guess what? This was the year air travel peaked. Surely that's no coincidence. Before the Industrial Revolution, global warming was close to non-existent, or as close as it could be. When researching for this speech, I had the opportunity to speak to a civic leader who gave a similar answer to the police in a recent ITV interview. They said that we're careful and thoughtful about the amount of energy we are creating and consuming. What's an excuse, I thought. Our community should be pledging for climate neutrality. Everyone should know to contribute to their company and their community. We need to hold our communities accountable. And yes, we do all need to be mindful of the amount of waste and energy we are creating, but we shouldn't be making up answers on the spot. We should know what we're doing. If every business was climate neutral, then there'd be 94% less extinction a year, meaning that we would be about 128 species the world would be able to see that would be extinct otherwise. We must hold our communities accountable. Finally, we spend our whole lives working towards our own future through school and work, and we all look forward to retirement. What about our children's future? The next generation needs superheroes now. The future depends on us. A quote from Prince Ye: "When the world dries up and the trees are all cut down, we'll then learn we cannot eat money." I quote Robert Swan: "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. You are committing a crime, the worst crime ever. Robbery of the future. What reason do you have to commit this crime? Laziness, ignorance, or greed? If we all make small commitments, we can all make a positive change. We can do this. We can make the difference our world needs. We can all be superheroes." Now, recently I was doing a devised piece of drama that was based around global warming or climate change. And in doing the research for it, we found tons of animals we know, like lions, polar bears, tigers, will be extinct by 2050. What if our pets, what if they don't evolve? We could end up without any pets. Now, a quote that gets thrown around quite often in the climate change community is, "You will die of old age. We will die of climate change."